Whoa!
Okay, these students are practicing walking like an animal that they have chosen to walk like.
And if you want, you can pause and look back at your tracks and see what they look like. If it's just an even zigzag, then that's like a bobcat.
Yeah, and actually that's a really neat practice too. If you pause and look around, you'll feel how your weight shifts from your hands, like left hand to right hand. You can see that in tracks too, how animals have looked around and shifted their weight.
Alright, how's it going? Let me see your bobcat track.
So this is another great method to learn tracks, is using the snow, fresh than snow. You can learn how one animal direct registers, push off points and things like that.
This is here. Nope. Sometimes another animal might. What do you think? Any guesses? Uh-oh. Ooh, good guess. What else moves like a raccoon? Yeah, bear and raccoon both have that kind of gait. And what you end up with here, here, step forward a bit and come take a look at these. It's usually better to have the sun across from you when you're looking at the tracks. But look what we have. We have a hind foot and a front foot together, parallel. And then it switches, and we have the other hind foot and the front foot parallel. Boom, 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 like that. So that's very distinctive for raccoon and bear. We call that a 2x2 walk. Okay.
Because their back right going at the same level where their back left was instead of going in the place where their front right was.
Do you want to try to do it? Yeah. Go for it.
Because they're not putting it where it was. They're going ahead of it.
That's right.
So you're like,
yeah. It's like that big elongated stride. Nice one. Okay, let's take a look. Did he do it? So we got back, front, back, front, back, front, back, front. Beautiful.
nice.
That's just that big, like, whole one side of the body, and then whole other side, you know? That bear sort of like shambling walk.
So what do some trackers call that kind of walk? Does anybody remember what it could be called? I didn't hear you. Indirect? No, not necessarily. I don't think so. A famous tracker named Mark Elbrock. Is anybody familiar with Mark Elbrock? He writes really great tracking guides.
I think your readings that you used yesterday in class were Elbrock readings.
No, they were Rosenda's, but I have Elbrook if people want to look at it.
It's on the left.
That's good. He calls it a 2x2. 2x2 raccoon or bear walk.
Okay, so we got a 2x2. We've got a bound. We've got a direct register walk, which you all tried, right? Like the bobcat. Deer will also walk with a direct register, getting that hind hoof into the front one. And I think I heard somebody say that conserves energy, right? You don't have to punch through the snow so many times. You can tell that on a day like today. Okay, what else? What else do we have? Well, we tried to do a gallop. It's hard. It's hard to do. But I try to do that at the end of the bobcat one too. What you end up with a gallop, and you can see, like watching dog tracks, they're a little bit sloppier than wild animals are, but you can see that pattern with them too. If you have the two front, and then they bring their body all the way forward, and this is like a cheetah or a, or a dog or a deer runs this way too. Those two, and then this one will come all the way up here. And then they'll leap off with those two. Do a big leap. That's the best I can do.
This is good.
But that sort of pattern, the 1, 2, 3, 4, then a big leap, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was down on the salt marsh side of the neck over here and saw these 4 deer tracks in the middle of nowhere. I looked, and like 20, 25 feet off in this direction was the next set of 4. Wow. Crazy, right? Amazing. Okay, what else? Should we cover anything else before we...
And action.
This is my son Gage, and his job is going to be that of a bobcat. He's going to be tracking and hunting our group while we're on the path. He's not to attack anybody in the group, but to stay close enough not to be seen, but close enough not to be lost either. Alright. Ah!
Innocuous. So it looks like I've got 4 toes in the front track here. Does anybody else see that too? Oh, I'm casting shadows. Sorry. One thing that's really good to do is get the track in between you and the sun. It helps you see it a little bit better. So what are the toe counts you guys see?
4 in the front.
What about in the back? These are good ones here. Let me get a twig and I'll point to it. This pine needle. So do you see that one there? On the back foot, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and Jeremy, can you Jeremy, can you see one in there? I can't see from the side.
Yeah, I do.
So that would be the 5th. So we have 4 toes in the front and 5 toes in the back. Pretty cool. Anybody know what happened to that squirrel? Anyone see it run off or anything? No, me neither. We lost it. I guess we're not very hungry. Good ones there. Squirrels love to hang out in trees. And red squirrels, do you know the 2 different types of squirrels in Maine? Red and gray, yeah. The gray ones are kind of bigger and fatter. The red ones are smaller and way tougher. They're way more ferocious than the gray squirrels. I've seen red squirrels, half the size of gray squirrels, chasing them through the woods, chattering away at them, because the gray squirrel came into its territory and the red squirrels are extremely territorial. So I'm surprised it's not chattering us right now. Red squirrels love pine forests. They love eating pine nuts. Really tasty to red squirrels. Maybe we'll find what's called a midden pile. Do you guys remember that from class? And Wooz, you want to tell us what a midden pile is?
It's all the nip twigs and stuff.
Yep, it's often the pine cone taken all apart in like a little tiny pile. That's a really great example of one. But let's keep walking and see what we find. Aha! You guys see this? It's a great example of a midden pile. Did you find something, Wooz?
Yeah, there's just some pine cones.
Cool. Does anybody want to be our collector for the day? Anybody have a bag or a pocket that they'd be okay with putting this type of stuff in?
I don't have a...
Yeah. This is a scale, it's called. And then if you look inside it, everyone come down and grab one. Try to grab a whole one. And if you look at mine, and you look way up at the top there, there's 2 little like dark circles or ovals. You guys see that? Yeah. Find it on your own too. That's where the pine nuts sit. The 2 pine nuts sit right inside there. and the squirrels will take the whole pine cone and shred it to pieces like this to get out every little last pine nut in there. Pine nuts are really delicious. They sell them at the stores, but that's from a different type of pine.
Yeah, those are huge.
Yeah, that's from a different type of pine that I think grows out west. Out here, this is from eastern white pine, and they're much smaller, as you can see. But they still make a good meal if you're hungry. And I want you guys to come around and look at this little hole right here. It looks like to be a little cave or something. And can anybody picture a squirrel sitting there eating a pine cone just like this, shredding it to pieces, getting a nice tasty meal, and then getting scared? Maybe here's a hawk, maybe a group of kids start walking by, maybe a group of adults like us walking by. It gets scared, and where does it go? Right down in there. Pretty smart. So it always knows where cover is, because squirrels are always hunted. Imagine if you were always hunted. How would you feel?
Constipated.
More squirrel tracks over here.
Okay, so we saw a red squirrel on this log eating all these pine cones. And right here is the entrance into his little burrow. And right there, there's a hole into his little burrow. And all these, I don't know if the camera picks up these tracks in the snow, but there's all tracks going that way along the rock for cover. All along there in the snow. So the red squirrel eats here, and when he senses danger, he jumps off into the hole. And then when the hawk or the danger passes, he comes back and starts eating.
Is alternate or opposite?
Alternate?
Right. So ash of opposite. So what is this one? Alternate? Smell it. This to the natives who lived in this area was often referred to as a toothbrush tree. Smell the fresh cut there on the top. Smell the mint?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah, it's a birch tree. It's yellow birch. Let's keep moving. Let's go on an adventure. Let's climb the tree. Look how amazing this is.
The hemlock tree. Porcupines love hemlock trees. And they'll sit on top of this one and eat all the branches. Or chew on the branches, chew on the bark. And all these green branches will be dropped by him.
Yeah. What do you think, mate? Yeah. Look at it. Aren't they cool?
Whoa.
Carpenter ants love cedar trees. They love to get into the bottom of cedar trees and rot it out from the inside and then work their way up. And woodpeckers love to eat carpenter ants, so you end up a lot with stuff like this. Isn't that neat? Anybody see any more woodpecker holes in the area? They just let their eyes go soft again and just scan around the whole place. See how many we can find. I see at least 3. These are like really long. Some of them really short. That's really interesting.
There's some more over here too.
So we got hair. It looks like it's gray. Everybody grab a hair and take a really close look at it. See if it changes colors or if it's gray the whole way.
It's striped.
Yeah, do you guys see those little like black stripes on there?
I see gray and I can see some blonde.
Yeah, I see some blonde too. But there weren't any other tracks in the area that I saw that would have indicated like some type of predation on this, what might be a squirrel.
Maybe he was coming this way and saw something over there and went that way.
It's quite
And
possible,
here's a
but why would he lose hair?
Piece of
scratching himself?
Here,
Could have been.
with
Good time to scratch yourself like you just saw a predator.
Right.
we're trying to figure
Something
out
might
what it
be
is,
going on here.
and
Do you
I'm
know
guessing that it's squirrel.
an animal that lives in hemlock forest that might be hunting squirrel? That wouldn't leave any tracks? Or that wouldn't leave too many tracks?
An owl.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if that's true, but maybe. That's what I'm thinking. Is maybe an owl came from above. But if that were the case and it really came down hard, we would see the wing imprints, which would be really cool. We could sketch them out. That'd be really neat. And I didn't see any here, so I don't know. It's another unsolved mystery. Unless you guys have any ideas. But I will collect the hair to put in a bag so we can show people later. And what species do we think this is? Red squirrel? How about we take some measurements. When we measure it, we usually measure from the outside of this track all the way to the outside of this one. And so we're at 3 3/4 of an inch. Does everyone see that? From here to there, it's about 3 3/4 of an inch. Does anybody know how to use a field guide? You guys haven't been taught? Okay. I'll show you. Do you guys want to learn?
We'd use like tree ones.
Tree ones? Okay. Well, this Elbrock field guide's really great. And there's lots of ways of using it. But we think it's a red squirrel. So why don't I go into the index and find squirrel. I'm going to find red squirrel. So we got the red squirrel, and we're trying to find its, what's that called again that I just took? The width, the trail width. So there's the individual track width, and then there's the trail width. So trail width is 2 7/8 inches to 4 3/8 inches. And what was ours?
3 1/4 inches.
3 1/4, so it fits right in the middle of that range. So could very well be a red squirrel. So we may have found some red squirrel hair. And we saw a red squirrel today. So far it's been the red squirrel day. It'd be cool to find something bigger. Running through the woods, and they're not going to run for that far. We're only going to give them like 30 seconds to run. But we can't be looking. We're going to be looking the other way. They're going to run off for about 30 seconds, and as soon as we count to 30 seconds here, we're going to start howling like coyotes. And then we have to go and find them by tracking them down. You guys want to play?
I don't know this.
Don't be so excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, it's really, really fun.
Yeah! Woohoo! I want to be the tracker. Because I'm
Be
good
the
at
tracker?
tracking.
Yeah!
I'll be the film.
So Gage is gonna be the tracker, but you have to let them track too, because they've never done it before, and you've done it a bunch of times.
But my dad's going to be the person who goes way, way out there. Because he does his way back on it.
Gage is in charge. Remember, Gage, you gotta let them track too.
his shack. Yeah, we go down there. Either way, so does he keep going or does he stop?
He stops.
Oh, okay.
So he was probably jogging. And he is probably, I think probably behind that tree. See, that, it's hot now, but there's, a blonde first. Oh, seriously, look. That's not even a shack. Yeah, come look at that. That's not even a shack. Looks like some teeth or something. Okay,
So you guys still on trail?
Yeah.
So here's a sign for on trail. When you're on trail as a tracker, your hand is down like this. So can everybody do that? It's kind of like you're on track. And then if you lose the track, meaning like you can't find the next one, then you put your hand up in the air and you say lost track. And then everyone comes in and helps out. Try to find the next track.
It's like a bear or something.
Lost track?
Nope. Oh, you gotta be careful. There's like 3,000 over there.
Okay. So that's the track last seen. Track last seen is important. Does he run right across the trail?
Wait, I can see his track.
How would we find him?
What pattern does like the sole of his boot make?
Well, yeah, that's something we could have paid attention to, right? You're still on track, Eleanor? Uh-oh. Everybody come up here and see what happened here. Remember to look for the fresh ones. Whoa. You guys ever been down here before?
Not to this place.
Jim goes up another hill. Disgruntled high school teenagers trying to track him down.
It's 2 days. He's been running 2 days and we still haven't got it.
It's so long. We're almost out of food and water. It's a heavy trek. 1 week back to camp.
Jim writes in the snow that he sees us. Where can he be? We'll send the young ones ahead to get ambushed first. Finally, he emerges from the forest. Alive and well. We thought we'd never see you again, Jim.
It was almost a real survival situation.